Hey everybody, welcome to The Hill is Always Greener, a show where us four friends have chill, cool discussions about things we like about Sonic the Hedgehog to distract ourselves from the inevitable passage of time and our rapidly waning ability to wait to the youth.
Well, that's a good read. That's a good read.
Good start, yes.
Let's go with that.
Let's roll with it. Hey, keeping it chill, loosey-goosey.
Let's roll
yeah.
with it.
Dr. Wowie.
Lucy Goosey, one of my favourite obscure Sonic characters.
So I hope everybody's doing all right. Before we jump straight into our topic, has anybody had any new Sonic-y stuff that they've done since the last time we met?
Oh, boy.
You know, I just might.
oh, there's a few of us, is it?
Oh, yeah.
Waiting for the musical stinger to come in after that.
So, you guys remember many, many episodes ago when I talked about that Sonic and Mario 64 ROM hack, right? So, somebody did the other way around and put Super Mario 64 in Sonic.
Oh yeah! I saw this. That looks amazing. Go for it.
Yeah. So basically, this is Super Mario 64 Generations, a mod for Sonic Generations by, I believe it's pronounced Skyth, Skyth. And basically what it is they have ported the movement engine for Mario 64 along with the model into Sonic Generations. So you can play through that game using the exact movement and physics from Super Mario 64 and all the same controls. And it is the most surreal thing I have ever seen in my life.
The clip I saw was specifically wall jumping in, I think it was Green Hill Zone. And it is so weird to see the perfect Mario 64 physics in Sonic Generations. Very good. But yeah, that is super fascinating. That it's not just a model swap, which require lots of talent, but no, a full physics port. So it is.
This ain't no Samari.
No.
Yeah.
I looked into it a little bit to figure out, like, okay, how is this being done? And basically, my understanding is that it's being done by basically taking all the code from the Super Mario 64 decompilation project, which is how we got those wild PC ports, and basically porting the code from that into Generations. So it's all being built on this open source version of Mario 64, and it's surreal. Like the fact you can actually do like the backwards long jump to propel yourself through Green Hill is something special.
That's awesome. Thank you for bringing that up. That is very cool. Just my pure definition of why the hell not?
So that was the Sonic news. It was all about Mario.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sonic fans. Oh no, but when it comes to Sonic news, boy, it's awkward. So at time of recording, it is April 2nd, 2022. Just to peel the curtain back a little bit. I just yesterday went to see the Sonic 2 movie.
Woo.
My American friends have to wait another week. So a precarious situation we find ourselves in, where I do my best not to spoil too much. Yeah, I'd imagine there's a good chance that anyone listening to this, because they're probably Sonic fans, I would imagine, has already seen the movie, or at least attempted to. But right now, we're still in that bubble of the world doesn't quite know yet. So it is a strange time.
I personally spoiled myself just because it's the kind of movie that doesn't really bother me knowing stuff. But without spoilers, Faulerro, can you give us a few sentences of what you feel after seeing it? I think it's been a little bit. It's had time to ruminate.
It's a dumb kids movie with lots of stuff that I didn't really care for, but doesn't really matter because it's Sonic. So that's it's silly, it's weird, it's pop culture references out the wazoo. Like that's no spoiler, you know that going in.
Yeah, that's not a spoiler. That's the first movie.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I was reminded when I was watching it. I was that's the kind of movie the first one was. But it's fine. It's fun. I actually like the human characters in this, so it's fine. It's Jim Carrey's there. Spoiler.
That definitely sounds like how I came down on the first one eventually. And I am very happy to see if, like the first one, if it's anything above quality-wise, what I would describe as unmitigated disaster. As long as it's a few notches above that, I think that is perfectly fine. It's very obvious that they wanted to put lots more Sonic stuff into this one, so as long as that part is fun and it's there, I'm definitely on board.
It's made by people who do care about Sonic, and they care about Tails, and they care about Knuckles, and that's good, because they're good in this, and that's all I'm going to say. Have fun when you finally get to watch it, lads.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely will.
I'm looking forward to it.
You can't tell me what to do.
Okay.
People are upset those replica shoes from Movie Sonic are all sold out, but I will settle for nothing less than the Knuckles Timberlands. I will put my money where my mouth is if they make replicas of those. So speaking of Sonic movies, that brings us to our topic for today, which some could say is the original Sonic movie. It depends. It depends on whose release you want to go by. But the colloquially, we'll just refer to it as the Sonic OVA, the original video animation, which originally came out in Japan in 1996 as 2 episodes. If I remember correctly, they had a limited theatrical release and then were on 2 separate VHS tapes. And they didn't make it over here until 1999 to coincide with the release of the Dreamcast. As Sonic the Hedgehog the movie was released on a singular VHS tape, or God, I don't think we actually got a DVD until a year or 2 later.
I want to say the DVD was like 2003, maybe 2004.
I know it was definitely a couple years later, and then we would get one more like revised DVD a few years after that. But yeah, this is the Sonic OVA.
Sonic the Hedgehog, scrape your knuckles, catch some tails.
Yes, that weird tagline on the on the US release. Luke, do you want to go over real quick like some of the technical aspects about like the release and stuff like that?
Yeah, I did a little bit of research. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find too much. We do have, a lot of the basic credits, like we know the director of the film was Kazutaka Ikegami, who, from what I can see, didn't actually direct anything else besides this. It's mostly a storyboarder on stuff like Alice SOS and Initial D. The script was written by, if I got this right, Mayuri Sekijima and Masashi Kubota, who wrote for stuff like Dragon Ball Z and GT, all the Mega Man Battle Network anime.
Checks out.
Fair amount of stuff. It sounds like they're still working today. So, always a good thing to see. And the animation was done by Studio Pierrot, who is a long-standing animation studio. Most people will probably know them for stuff like Naruto, Bleach, Yu Yu Hakusho, Black Clover, that sort of thing.
Polar Bear Cafe.
Oh, did they do Polar Bear Cafe? I love that show.
They sure did. I love that show.
Jeff Gersman's favorite anime. Yeah, I do like that specifically in the credits they mentioned that they are working from character designs from Naoto Oshima, the original designer of Mr. Needle Mouse. Yeah, and it seems like Sega was kind of like very hands-on with this as far as, the production is to be believed. Let's see, we only got the dub over here on the VHS. I've heard some scuttlebutt that there was like a sub VHS, but like a lot of things with this movie and anime that was available in the 90s, most of that is just hearsay.
Yeah.
There. I remember specifically there were lots of rumors of like, that like heavily censorship versions, and I remember having the VHS and like none of that was real. We'll touch on that. Want to talk about some of the changes they did, but
can't believe they cut out the shower scene.
Yeah. I mean, literally, like shit like that. People would claim that there was like hardcore scenes that they cut out of the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon movie. Jeez.
Sonic does his taxes.
Adult content. So anyway, for the first couple of years, we only had the dub over here, which had a Texas-based cast, because ADV, which isn't around anymore, but was a Texas-based anime company. They put this out. Martin Burke plays Sonic. Kind of the only thing I wanted to say is, speaking of rumors, is that there were lots of rumors that he was from Ireland, which is why his Sonic voice is a little funny. I just wanted to say that is not true. Like,
Interesting. As
far as I can tell, on all of his official profiles, he was born and raised in Texas, and so his Sonic voice is just funny like that.
I don't even know what it is. It's just it's something strange about the delivery. It's not quite that sort of Sonic Cosmo Fighter, but it's, I don't know. What is it? It's like weirdly formal almost.
Okay, I'll say this now, because I want to talk about how I think this is a fine dub compared to a lot of 90s kids anime. I mean, we were fixing to get into, Dragon Ball Z was over here by now, which I think I mentioned before, has a sordid history that ultimately comes out as a very positive impact on the anime industry over here as a whole. But like, we were about to get deep into like 4 kids adapting anime for Saturday mornings, and that is not what this dub is. This is a very competent, from all my comparisons, faithful, for the most part, translation to, but some of the vocal performances are very odd, and I think it comes down to inconsistency. Like, I don't know, sometimes it sounds like scenes were recorded on different days. And I think Burke's Sonic it's just kind of funny like that, because a few of his opening lines are kind of a heroic, almost with a little nasal. Like, I wonder if they didn't play him a clip of like Jaleel White as Sonic.
Oh, maybe.
It kind of strikes that kind of up here, like, oh, hey, Tails, no, I don't want to do that right now. I can't swim. And then you get to later in the movie, and some famous lines like "Strange, isn't it?" where it does seem like he has a weird, I guess, mid-Atlantic kind of almost vaguely European. I don't know. Like you said, it is possible to nail down.
Tails is just like a little kid with his new toy. Good work, Tails. You saved us.
I think that's what happens when someone's trying to do like an impression sometimes, is that they're like, no, you need to sound like this. Well, okay, I'll try, but it's going to sound weird.
Yeah.
And that's what it ended up being.
And because it doesn't just happen to him, Robotnik does it a couple times. Like, he almost has a weird, like, Russian thing going on for some lines.
You need to take this with you, Tails.
Yeah, he kind of does.
Tails, here is the navigator.
Yes, exactly what I was going to say.
They probably saw the name Robotnik and they were like, oh, that's Russian, right?
See, that's what I'm saying.
European,
To your shortest route.
But then the script adapters like had enough wherewithal to know, and hey, this could have been a Sega thing, to throw in some American Sonic terms. Like, they've changed a lot of things. So I don't know. So I wanted to say that up front. This is not a bad dub. I do think it's weird, and some things stick out to me now that is hard to wrap my head around. Even Tails, like, I think Tails is a very cute voice in English in this, but also does kind of fly around here, though, because Tails kind of starts off like, real up in his nose, oh, Sonic, come check out my bodyboard. And then by the time Tails is trying to rescue Old Man Owl from his flaming car, he says, I'm not going to give up that easily, and kind of slips into a weird little voice there. And so anyway, I just wanted to say that up front. I don't think this dub is bad. I did just want to acknowledge how weird some of the performances can get.
It is funny having like port that Tails voice having to read out some complicated dialogue later on.
One of the things that I really wanted to mention as well, as far as the dub, is getting ready for this episode of the podcast, I watched the Japanese dub for the first time, and I'm sure we'll talk about some of the Japanese voice actors as well. And I promise I really tried to not be too biased, even though I've watched the English version like a bazillion times at this point. But I mean, like, honestly, I gotta say, I genuinely enjoy the English dub more than I enjoy the Japanese dub, because the Japanese dub is like
Standard.
Yeah, you know what? Standard. That's a good way to put it.
No, I don't disagree. I do think at the end of the day, I might prefer watching this one in Japanese, but it's also it's none of the game cast that would be in Sonic Adventure. Again, because in Japan, this came out several years before Adventure might have even started like development. Yeah, Masami Kakuchi plays Sonic. He's the only one that sticks out in my head as like a unique performance. And he's also the original voice of Tenchi from the Tenchi Muyo OVAs, which stuck out. I was like, oh yeah, that's where I've heard that before. And he, I also thought it was interesting. He plays the prince in the Mario Peachime movie, which is technically the first video game movie. I thought that was interesting. And also he is the Japanese dub voice for Bob the Tomato from VeggieTales.
That's the most significant role that we need to bring up here.
This man is prolific.
I do like his Sonic. I think it is a nice, like a tough guy teenager, and that sticks out.
He sounds like a bit of a jerk. He sounds like a bit of a disinterested jerk sometimes. Fits for me.
I kind of like that. It fits Sonic's lackadaisical attitude in this movie. I really like it.
でもエッグマンの言うことなんて100に99は嘘だからな。でも残りの一つだったら。
He does have a bit of a demeanor. Like you can see in the animation, he's just got a bit of a flippant demeanor. I quite like that.
Also in Japanese, Hikaru Shiina is Tails, and I thought it was interesting. She played Mega Man several times. I think she was in the Wish Upon a Star OVA.
Oh yeah, that.
Yeah, she was in Wish Upon a Star and the arcade fighting games.
And I thought, oh, that's cool.
That's awesome.
She was also Celestia Ludenberg in Danganronpa.
Well. I should have done my research because that's interesting.
It all comes back. Most of these Japanese actors are still working to this day. Yasunori Matsumoto as Knuckles. I like him in this movie, but I looked it up and immediately stuck out that he played Anubis in the Stardust Crusaders adaptation a couple years ago, the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, who is one of the like standout characters in that season. This crazy, stand dog man who is like shrieking throughout the entire episode. Also wrote down that he has done the Japanese dub for Adam Sandler like 7 or 8 times in the international releases of those movies. So
more power to him.
A talented man.
I know him more as the voice of Gowry in Slayers. So
yeah, I saw that. That does. I think he's come back for every iteration of Slayers.
Yep.
Junpei Takiguchi plays Eggman in the Japanese version, who did pass away in 2011. But I did see he was the original voice of Purunga in DBZ. And it's also the Japanese dub voice for Abe Simpson on The Simpsons. Was also the Japanese dub voice for Dexter Jetster in Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
And also the Swedish chef in The Muppet Show.
Oh, wow. That's a good one.
Need some real vocal chops for that role.
I think his performance as Eggman is fine. It does lack the gravitas that Atsuka would bring to him in the games. He sounds a bit dopey.
本当かソニック。お前たちも知っての通り、この惑星フリーダムは二重構造になっておる。お前たちが住む外側の大陸を天の大地と呼ぶ。
んなこと知ってら。
うるさい、黙っておれ。
Sensibly, he does sound like a bit like an old man. He does sound like Abe Simpson, an old man yelling at Cloud. He's just kind of grumbling through his stories.
Not really what I expected from Eggman, which is why I probably prefer Edwin Neal, who plays Robotnik and the President in English, because he brings that big energy to what I expect from a Robotnik.
It's so good.
And he's done a lot of stuff. But yeah, a lot of these people like have definitely in the English dub did a lot of like writing and producing and engineering, and because I mean there's a lot of that now in the anime industry, but back then definitely like, yeah, you're gonna do 30 extra voices and also adapt this script and etc. etc.
Yeah. Like, I was looking at the credits, and, Old Man Owl was played by Charles C. Campbell and Metal by Gary DeHaan, and I don't think it's any coincidence that they were also the recording engineer and voice director, respectively.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it just makes me happy anytime I see any of these actors still popping up here and there. Like, Charles Campbell literally just popped up a few years ago in My Hero Academia as Gran Torino. So it's like...
Oh, that's
right.
awesome.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's cool. I like seeing the voices I recognize from this obscure little thing, popping up in places I don't expect.
So yeah, that was just a little trivia on the production and the cast. I just thought was interesting. The other thing I thought was interesting at this time, and maybe someday, like I'm just now realizing, maybe there is someone who worked at Sega at the time that has this information that we might know for certain someday. But I wonder if the small changes that were made to the dub, which like I said before, like just comparing the official subtitles and like the English dub seems to be a fairly faithful translation. But the dub does make some changes basically to make it in line with, which is ironic considering this would come out right before Sonic Adventure, which changed all this. But like the American Western, the European standard, like Eggman is Robotnik. He name drops Eggman Land, which is changed to Robotropolis, which is interesting. But the scary metal Robotnik is Black Eggman, which is that one I kind of get because that is
absolutely necessary change.
It's not the last time that would happen either. I remember like literally the exact same thing. Xenoblade, there's a character called Blackface. Yikes. And they changed that to Metal Face for the English version. So literally
God, I didn't realize that would have... Oh my goodness, because I'm imagining Shulk getting really mad about blackface.
To be fair, we should all get really mad about
yes. Good for you, Shulk. So yeah, probably the only change I can see there, and the only one I wrote down is Sarah's name is spelled different. It's written with A's and pronounced as Sarah, when in Japanese it's spelled with an EI, so it's more like Sira. And you see that in the little fighting game name entry screen, is that it's spelled like that. Yeah, I really do wonder if this wasn't Sega stepping in and asking them to do this, since otherwise it's a faithful adaptation. But then, yeah, like I said, it's very funny because then less than months later, we would get Sonic Adventure, which would retcon everything.
Yep.
I just wanted to point out one little thing that you did not point out. It's a small one. But, it's the robot generator is actually called the egg generator in Japanese. And I wonder if they didn't get the memo that not everything needs to be changed from egg to robot.
Yeah.
They're still working a couple of egg puns into the dub script.
No, there's still, Sonic won't be a pain in my egg!
Yeah.
Which is,
Oh, yeah, this movie looks really good.
Yeah,
that is one more thing I want to say is that you definitely should go watch this movie. It's out of print in the US, at least, as far as I know, but there are ways to find it. I would be totally fine with linking them if I didn't know that whoever owns this in Japan has been sending copyright notices to people. So it's out there. You can find it, I promise. There's even been some fan restoration projects to upscale it into proper HD without, destroying the source material. I know Japan just released both episodes for download on, I think some Bandai owned video on demand service, and so those look really good.
Oh, cool.
So it's out there. You can find it. I also, before we jump into this, and I wanted to mention one of those projects was a fan dub by, I think he goes by King Aloysius is how it's spelled, which you might have heard of that fan dub. I'm not sure if it's out there, again, because of copyright shenanigans, but what is still out there is his restoration of the soundtrack which we have never had an official release. Lots of people remembered the lookalike song from the credits. We've only had like the 2-minute version that's featured in the release, but that got found a couple of years ago. I think someone like straight up asked the composer, and he...
Yeah, the story I understand is that somebody who knew like either the composer or somebody like on the production team emailed them to just be like, hey, we can't really make out the lyrics in this part of Lookalike that was, in the film, but not like part of the credits where it was easily like audible. Can you, shine some light on those? And he's like, I'm just going to send you the complete version of Lookalike. And it's like, oh, pause. I don't have the complete soundtrack, so I'm just going to send you all these like early demo versions of the complete soundtrack. Oh.
Yeah.
So this, ladies and gentlemen, is why you should always shoot your shot.
Yeah.
Yes. Just ask, what's the worst that could happen? So we do have complete versions of some of like the most memorable tracks from this movie, but we don't have the whole thing, which I hope we find someday. But King Aloysius basically went back and for his fan dub performed the soundtrack, and if I remember correctly, went out of their way to like find the synthesizers and tools that may have been used originally, and it sounds really good. It sounds about as close as we are ever going to get to an official release of the soundtrack.
For sure. Like, we've even used it once or twice in Sonic F for certain scenes.
Yes, and he also put together like an entire like package of the audio he used for his fan dub, and basically said, hey, if you want to use this to do your own dub, or just want to listen to all of it, go for it. So that is a super cool resource that they spent a ton of work and effort with, and I think his fan dub is preserved other places. I know, again, copyright shenanigans, but I wanted to acknowledge that was a lot of hard work, just basically for no reason, just to be cool.
Yeah.
So definitely go check that out so you can listen to some of the full versions of this music. But Jake, you were going to take it away as we are just recapping the movie itself.
So we start out with the movie. A few flashes of a computer screen with like, it looks like blueprints for Metal Sonic. Then we have some really well presented flashes between black and really well drawn, basically stills of like different parts of Metal Sonic, as well as like full body establishing shots back to back.
It looks very good.
Yes.
Man, we're going to get into it, but yeah, Metal Sonic looks so good in this movie.
Yeah. And this would be the only appearance he would make in any like extended Sonic visual media, like TV or anything, for 20 years until he got brought into the Boom cartoon.
Ridiculous, to be fair.
Yeah.
what a bonehead move to deny us Metal Sonic in animation.
Why they did not put Metal Sonic into Sonic X, I will never understand.
Not even a taste of Metal Sonic.
Yeah.
Not even. It's ridiculous. And you know what? Like the thing to bring him back was the Sonic Boom cartoon.
Why didn't they put Metal Sonic in Night of the Werehog?
Why not? Actually, though.
But after those really well presented shots of Metal Sonic, we have a really good silhouette of Robotnik, I guess, pep talking Metal Sonic.
He's got those glowing glasses.
Yes. For the English dub, Edward Neal just like off the bat kills it as Robotnik, because he just brings like the right amount of menace, and man, the way he delivers it is so good. And then that laugh is so good. And like when I was watching the Japanese dub, I noticed that wasn't there, and I thought to myself, wow, that feels so empty now.
I actually 100% agree. The cool laugh echoing makes up for the fact that the line doesn't really make sense, because he still needs Sonic's data to make Metal complete, and so you probably shouldn't kill him before it does that. But it's so fucking cool that it doesn't matter.
and in the Japanese, it's kind of like just like the like Eggman's just like, all right, Metal Sonic, you get his life data, will you? Grand.
He sounds a little sleepy.
Also worth noting that we've been calling him Metal Sonic this whole time, but Eggman / Robotnik is specifically calling him Hyper Metal Sonic.
Yes.
It's hyper. I guess That's different somehow.
Yeah, no, he got all the Super Emeralds ahead of time.
Yeah, it's the rule of cool.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, this is like its own version of Metal Sonic in a way. The design is the same, but the concept's a little different, as we'll get into.
We get right into that because we smash from the logo into what seems to be like its own unique world. Like, this is not the games. We get a bunch of proper noun names later, but it is very interesting that this is kind of... It's Sonic as we knew him from like a Japanese perspective. Like, there's lots of... That's what he looks like the original art. He looks like the design used in like Sonic CD, but this is not a game Sonic. This is its whole separate thing, because we come up with, again, one of the best songs in this. I think is just referred to as like the Planet Freedom theme.
Is this South Island? I think it's South Island.
Yeah, they do call it South Island, which is a games thing. But yeah, it seems to be like a bunch of floating continents, floating islands, if you want to get
some AGI angelic islands.
That seems like a stretch.
We come down, zoom into a beach where Sonic is catching some rays, and Tails runs up to him with one of his latest inventions.
Are we actually going to talk about, like, the environment they're in?
I was going to say...
It's a cool island.
Yeah.
But there's something there that's probably worth talking about.
Sonic appears to live in a giant pile of crashed vehicles.
Yeah, as you do.
Yeah, there's a jet plane there, and this comes, this comes back once they make it into the
Land of Darkness.
Yeah, the Land of Darkness. Is that, there's a lot of, like, post-apocalyptic vibes, because, at Sonic's Island, there's, like, a crashed airliner, there's, lots of scavenged vehicles laying about.
Like a radar tower, a train, what looks like the Starship Enterprise.
I was about to say.
Yeah. I remember, I think they just straight up copy this in the Archie comics when they discover Station Square, which in the Archie comics is carved into a mountain, like it's an underground city with like a fake sky.
That is great, but just the thought of like the mental gymnastics they had to make Sonic Adventure work within the Archie world.
Yeah,
it made the whole world exist within a mountain.
It's horrific hair, and it wasn't 100% their fault. They basically like Sega called them up and said, "Hey, do a Sonic Adventure adaptation," and they were like, "Okay, can we have some details?" No. And then had to fit it into their super weird continuity. Oh man. Pretty sure I mentioned that before, but it is a hilarious anecdote.
Fortunately, Sonic's relaxing time and Tails bodyboarding is interrupted by the true star of our show.
Yeah, he is. Yes. Yeah, he is.
The characters refer to him in English and Japanese as just plain old man. And I know in Japanese it's an honorific, it's Oji-san, which is it just doesn't really translate well, but
no.
I think is he Old Man Owl or is it just Old Man? He almost doesn't even have a name.
The credits actually do call him Old Man Owl.
Okay. There we go.
There you go.
I almost do kind of wish if they would have given him a name, because Owls and Sonic, now I'm just like, oh, is that Sophocles from the Bible?
Oh. I mean, like, Owls and Sonic just seem to be a thing now.
I mean, they always have been, if you look back at Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Oh.
Old Man Owl is an incredibly charming character who is, in either version, is just wonderful to listen to.
He's a mess, and that's why we love him.
Yes.
Yes.
I love the fact that, like, in certain lines in the English dub, he sounds just a little bit more doofy. Like, So Old Man Owl comes in on his rocket ship that's basically just about to blow up anyway. Tails tries to be the hero and help him out, and realizes that they're going straight for a cliff with really no recourse to do anything about it. So Tails does the only thing he can think of, calls on Sonic, and Sonic speeds over in quite a really well animated segment of him getting basically from one side of the island to another.
Big Sonic CD vibes with this section particularly.
Yes. And they save Old Man Owl. Old Man tells them that, he tries to tell them that the president wants to see them, which Sonic and Tails have to kind of fish out of him because he's having an old man moment, unfortunately. But to get what I was saying about earlier about sort of the doofiness of some of the lines, when they have that really cool segment where the plane airstrip comes out of part of the island and they set off.
Oh yeah,
it's so gorgeous.
It's so cool, especially with the highlights and everything. Old Man Al, as they fly away, is on the beach waving like a handkerchief or something. And he says, "Bon voyage, kids!" And his laugh is just so... it's just...
You mentioned actually the airstrip section and the way it like comes down, and I have to say it does remind me a little bit of Sonic Adventure 1 with Tails' airstrip.
I was thinking the same thing. I would find it hard to believe that they weren't at least partly inspired by that when they were working on that sequence for Adventure.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Probably the other song that sticks in my head the most is the tornado launch, which is that. Yep.
We're gonna be singing this whole soundtrack through this.
Yeah. Of course we are.
I do love that this opening minutes gives a really good beat on all of our on Sonic and Tails' character, because Tails is very enthusiastic about his new invention, which I guess is the first time a lot of us would have think, oh, Tails is a tinkerer. He's a little boy genius. He makes stuff.
Yeah.
But then also
because
Sonic...
this was our first glimpse into like some of the Japanese stuff for a lot of us. So this is
yes.
If we didn't get like Sonic Adventure before now, this would have been like our first sign of, oh, Tails, boy genius.
Yeah.
I also like that it also does a very good job of establishing that Sonic is aloof and kind of a jerk. But then as soon as like shit gets real, he is the good guy.
Yeah.
You know, because he's very much doesn't want Tails to bother him. Straight up says that he doesn't care that, Old Man Owl's about to explode. He tells Tails that he's the one that's got propeller on his butt. But why doesn't he go and do something about it?
He's like one step away from calling him a pixel brain.
Yeah.
Yes. And I really, I like it a lot.
At least Tails claps him back when he does it, though.
I know. He just... Either version, he tells Sonic he's no help, or just straight up calls him a.
Are you sure
idiot.
he's not saying "go to hell"? Because that's how people misinterpreted it for the longest time.
Oh man!
Hey, he is a little stuffed up in the head, so the line kind of runs together. No, I think officially in English he's saying "you're no help."
You're no help. Yeah.
And in Japanese, I think he says like Sonic no
no
baka.
Yeah.
Sonic, you idiot.
He just calls him a jerk, an idiot.
Also, crucially important point: Tails' pilot hat is adorable, and I'm glad they brought it back for Mania.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do fly all the way to the capital city, which, if I remember correctly, kind of does just look like the White House on a floating island. Because he's the president, he's not the king, he's not the prime minister. And then they, go into the office and find that Dr. Eggman / Robotnik is waiting for them.
Worth noting these the president seems to be some sort of anthropomorphic character, but it's really hard to pin down what he is.
He has elf ears.
Maybe that's it.
I like the other humanoid designs in this movie are very cartoony. Kind of like, I would say, like a Looney Tune-ish kind of westerny cartoon looking thing. But yeah, Sarah is very anime girl who she pops up in the scene, who straight up has like cat ear, or does she have cat ears?
I think
Her bow kind of looks like cat
I
ears.
think it's a bow meant to look like cat ears, but she's also got the tail.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I wonder, is the president supposed to kind of look vaguely like monkey-like?
I always thought that was a monkey tail for Sarah.
So
Yeah.
I have a headcanon theory about this. I am probably completely wrong, and I'm sure there's something out there to contradict me, but I'm just going to put it out there.
Probably.
Do it.
The president is grown-up Alex Kidd.
Hey, that would fit.
Yes.
Oh, but because the only other human character that has lines that I remember seeing is a butler later, and he has elf ears as well, which also would kind of fit the Alex Kidd monkey, but with pointy ears. Wow, that actually makes a lot of sense. That they're whatever Alex Kidd is.
The reason Robotnik took him hostage is because they lost at Janken, so...
Oh, wow, I never thought of that. Yeah.
I'm taking a close look. Actually, does Sarah have the ears? Because I'm seeing the bows. Are they bows or ears? Or are they just like ear coverings?
I'm looking at a close up too now.
It definitely looks like a big bow, and I think that's might be why people thought, oh, she's a cat girl. But yeah, them being like funny anime monkey people makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, I mean, it's either that or it's just like a nod to the old cat girl characters from the Sonic manga that came out forever ago.
Yes.
They wanted to get to those eventually.
I mean, it's also a 90s anime. You have to stick a cat girl in there somewhere.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
True.
Or monkey girl.
I'm immediately thinking of Yu Yu Hakusho, who not only has several animal girls that show up in the tournament arc, but also did a lot of, who was it, Botan would just, spring up the cat ears when she made a funny face.
Yeah.
I mean, and Sarah here sounds like a 90s anime character, like a girl, an anime girl.
It is funny in either version. Japanese, she's very, like, high up and wispy, and then in English is super much like, yes, this was what a dubbed anime girl sounded like back then.
Yeah.
And both very good performances, in my opinion.
You would never guess that her Japanese voice was Jigglypuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
Really?
since the beginning.
Oh, man.
So Eggman has taken the president and Sarah, his daughter, hostage, and has lured Sonic in because he needs him to do him a favor. And this is where we get an explanation of kind of what this whole world is. The land that I think they call the entire planet is called Planet Freedom, and it has I think this gets lost in the dub a little bit. I think they say 2 separate dimensions, and it always confused me as a kid when I really think they just mean like realms. Like the place where Sonic and his buddies, they all live is called the Land of the Sky, and they all live on like floating continents. And that's where South Island, where Sonic and Tails live, is. And then Robotnik says that he lives in the inner dimension, which is the Land of Darkness, which, kind of makes me wonder, is he just living on the surface of the planet? Maybe that's what they're getting.
That's my understanding. I took it to be as like, it's a similar case to something like Skyward Sword or Xenoblade 2, where there's, land masses above like this thick cloud cover, and there's only specific openings down to the surface below that is mostly shrouded in darkness.
So Robotnik goes on in explaining all this, and Sonic interjects and says, everybody knows that already. Tells him to shut the hell up. Robotnik says that he was living peacefully in his city until they were attacked by this giant robot. I think he straight up calls him like a demonic force with an army of robots that kicks him out of the city and sabotages his power plant, and now the generator is going crazy, and if they don't stop it within the next 24 hours or so, it's going to explode and could take out the entire planet.
And he demonstrates that when they're not taking him seriously.
Fine! Don't blame me when this happens!
Yeah, it's very good. Another very good moment.
Yes.
It is funny that the person who just happened to take over his land, I guess, just happens to be a metal version of him.
Yeah.
How did
Both
that
versions.
happen?
It's considering what happens later, it's like, man, come on, you couldn't have come up with something a little more convincing here, Doctor.
And to his credit, Sonic is, he doesn't believe a word of it. He's like, it's your problem, you deal with it.
Yes, he's, again, very unenthused Sonic, and he straight up says, I love the line, he says, 99 times out of 100, he's lying out of his ass.
But what if this is that one time?
Yeah.
And suddenly, Sonic is like, oh, shit.
I hadn't thought about that. I love that Sarah is even willing to just completely throw everybody else under the bus. It's just but when you do it for me...
I don't care what happens to Robotnik, I'm daddy.
We get a little bit of the old Sonic's girlfriend Madonna.
Yeah, that's kind of what's going on here.
Yep.
Do they have a pre-existing relationship? She certainly seems to think
Heck
so.
if I know.
She does. I don't think Sonic cares at all.
Sonic doesn't care about girls.
Yeah, I mean, Sonic is just so cool. It's like, well, yeah, of course, everybody loves him.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, so Robotnik gives Tails a little, what he calls a navigator, which should be a little, tiny little GPS with Eggman's face on it that should lead them straight to the city. You know, I keep saying it's Eggman Land, it's Robotropolis. I'll probably just end up calling it the dub names.
Yeah.
should lead him straight to Robotropolis, and so they pick up the tornado and make their way towards the nearest entrance to the Land of Darkness. They find the way down towards the Land of Darkness is like this huge supercell like storm that they fly straight into, and the poor tornado crashes and flips a few times, but everybody's okay.
Yeah.
And then we get another really great song drop with just a whole sequence of great animation where they fight some classic badniks and jump over some Sonic springs.
I love the animation of the sequence. Like, it has such big Sonic CD intro vibes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like, I really like a particular part of the sequence that I love is just the size of and I can't believe I forgot his name, but the centipede badnik.
Is it Crawlton? I think it's a pink Crawlton.
Yeah. He's like the size of a dragon. It's awesome.
I love how Sonic gives him the old, he just blasts straight through him.
Yes.
The only reference I have in my brain is Kid Goku killing Piccolo.
Yeah. And I think this sequence, before they get to Robotropolis, is a good time to point out like the sound design of the movie. There's quite a few sound effects used in this movie that I've heard in anime and even just other productions throughout the years, especially like Sonic's speed up sound, which I've heard in other ways. And like I first heard that sound here, and so whenever I hear that in anything else, I think, oh, it's the Sonic speed up sound.
Very, very obviously taken from a commonly used sound bank.
I was going to ask about that.
Anime stuff then. But no, they're very, it's a very nice sound mix. I think, and you know, not to be the technical guy, but if you can find some of the later releases or some of the restorations, the stereo mixing, especially in the sound effects, is super good.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And yeah, I do love the Sonic speed up to where sometimes it's real quiet depending, but then when he really kicks it in, like they've got some modified like jet plane sounds, and that actually reminds me a lot of how they would carry that over into a lot of the sound effects in Sonic X are modified like revving jet engines, and I just love that for Sonic, and they do that a lot in some of the modern games, the boost mode, as you can hear that jet whine, and it's, you know, it just tells you that Sonic is moving hella fast, dude.
It's very good. It really gets the point across, but I like to think it's a nod to Sonic's secret fighter pilot origins.
Yeah, his reincarnation.
It's just like the echoes of the fighter pilot trips of the past sort of play every time Sonic runs fast.
And this is also where we get to where, Sonic points out that they sure are running into a lot of traps, and Tails is like, I don't know, that's what the little watch is telling me.
This is the quickest route.
But they do stumble upon what Tails calls a warp zone, which they find that kind of looks like, it looks like a tube, which you could say might be the Sonic 2 special stages, but it's got the Sailor Moon transformation rainbow effect going on.
Yeah.
Right.
But it does spit them out right in on the outskirts of Robotropolis in some ancient ruins. Which also, in between all this, we cut back to Robotnik and Sarah and the President, who are killing time back in the White House playing a holographic fighting game.
On Sega Saturn controllers from the looks of it.
Yeah. But it's not, I don't know if it's a reference to anything specific, but it's very cute.
I choose to believe it's Virtua Fighter reference. It was very popular at the time.
I was kind of thinking that, yeah.
So it's kind of like Sonic the Fighters before Sonic the Fighters.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the little music stings for the Eggman's victory here.
Yeah.
The little sting at the end of like each match has that sort of like Konami like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Super Nintendo sound font kind of thing.
Yeah, it's such a good touch. I love it.
Anyone's listening, they know what it is.
It's funny. I think this totally flew over my head as a kid, is at the end of Eggman and Sarah's little fighting game here, something crashes into the side of the building, and Robotnik gleefully hops in, and Sarah comes with him, and I don't think I realized that that's literally just Metal Robotnik.
Yeah.
Until I watched it again as like a little older. But one thing I forgot to mention is I like Eggman's these little proto egg pawns.
Yeah, that's exactly what they are.
Yeah.
That God, they kind of remind me, like, okay, if you crossed the egg pawns with SWAT bots from SAT-AM with the robot troopers from STC, you would get these little dudes that just look like mean little round robot guys.
They're like little squidgy low polygon knights.
Yeah.
I like how there's one little one that's smaller than the others that's basically just there for goof purposes.
Yes, he's the one that's holding the sign that says "Bye-bye, Sarah."
Really photoshopped on in the English version.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, some very hastily MS painted over.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I totally did not catch that is just the Black Eggman mech, which kind of spoils the surprise when we cut back to Sonic and Tails, and they are in these ancient ruins that I think are just straight up like New York.
Oh yeah, no, that's totally New York.
That does look a bit New Yorkish.
Don't they zip up on what looks like the Chrysler Building?
I
the Empire State
believe
Building?
so. Yeah.
And when they're up there and they're looking out into like where the ruins have sunk, and you see all those buildings under the water, I'm like, little Sonic Adventure 1 ending here.
Yeah, it's another one.
It just makes me think of Tails at the end of Sonic Adventure 1. Well, all's well that ends well. Well, the whole city is drowned.
They get a bird's eye view of these ruins, and Tails posits that they are sinking because the egg generator is getting worse and worse. And this is also where some thunder crashes, and we learn that one of Tails' other character traits in this movie is he's afraid of lightning, which is pretty cute.
Yeah.
And also referenced in Sonic Mania.
Yeah, like that has roots in like some of Tails' earliest bios, from my remembrance.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe in like his original Sonic 2 Japanese bio, it said he's afraid of lightning.
Oh, the Japanese one, not the Sonic Bible. Don't care.
Yeah. Well, Tails is barely in any of those. Remember?
It might have been mentioned in Stay
Yeah,
Sonic.
screw
I
Tails.
can't remember.
No, he does get a mention in Stay Sonic, so that also counts. So yeah, as we know, he's a bit dim.
But this is where we get our first good look at Metal Robotnik, who is a cool design. I like his crazy bird legs.
Yeah.
This is not the Robotnik mech I would have expected, but I do like it a lot. It's very weird, very almost vampire-like.
Yeah, like the Sonic 2 final boss, but if he was like a vampire.
A little bit.
Big chunky vampire.
He's got the skinny legs that let him do a couple of big jumps. He's got the jetpack, the big cape.
I think the cape is doing a lot of the heavy lifting on the intimidation factor.
Yeah.
It is.
And then when the cape rips the giant bat wings.
Oh
yes,
yeah,
of course.
they're great. So he scares our heroes a little bit before coming at him. I really love how poor Tails is just scared out of his gourd because the thunder and lightning and Metal Robotnik's laugh it's so cute. It's just a subtle little animation, but he's shivering right up next to Sonic, and I'm always like, oh no, it's gonna be okay.
Protect this boy.
His arms and legs are crossed over in a weird way, and it looks really silly.
I like that at first Sonic and Tails really aren't taking the fight seriously. Like they're kind of hopping around, making fun of Metal Robotnik, and just kind of basically toying with him more or less. Like at one point,
Sonic almost flips him off.
Yeah.
Almost.
I don't think he's actually flipping the bird in this animation.
Yeah.
It is weird that he points his finger around that way, though, because you think if it was Sonic, it would be the other way around and he'd be wagging it, but...
He is definitely doing the pose, and, like, it is a very intentional animation where he is sticking it up, but just looking at the image... It should be in the middle of his fist. Like he's got a big old cartoony Mickey Mouse hand, and it should be the finger should be moved over. Yeah. So I'm not. he could be, I'm not saying that he couldn't be doing it. I'm just saying if they wanted it to be, they would have moved the finger over a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
Glad we can have such an in-depth discussion about Sonic's middle finger.
Well, man, I'm telling you, this is the circles I ran in coming up in the early 2000s online. That was a huge point of contention on whether it was slightly edited or not. Because there's a couple other scenes that they also said were cut out or changed. And again, people just made shit up.
God, Sonic fans are weird,
Yeah.
The things we're getting debates about.
It was definitely a time where, especially with anime in general, where you did have examples like I mentioned earlier, DBZ was also heavily edited on TV until, a long time. And you wouldn't get a lot of uncensored anime, even if it was intended for younger audiences. They would still like I said, the 4Kids days, where they would just straight up paint over entire things or cut out characters because they, for whatever reason. And so, that made his way over here. But, I'm willing to take a stand and say that, no, I don't think Sonic's flipping the real bird.
Yeah.
I mean, the 90s were a prime time for us to all be like, ooh, what if this is actually rude? What if they're saying something crude? Or what if there are boobs?
Now, we could go for another couple hours on now. Would Sonic flip the bird? I would say yes.
Yeah, 100%.
That's our next episode topic. But maybe we should get some people on who have contentious, differing opinions on this matter. I'm sure there's someone out there who puts their foot down. Sonic would never flip the bird. He has too much respect. He cares about his friends.
We'll go through every version of Sonic that has ever existed. Obscure origin manga to movie Sonic now. Would he flip the bird? Would he say
Okay, you know what? I'm going to confirm this right now. Fleetway/STC Sonic would not flip the bird. He would flip the V's because that's what you did over in our country back during the 90s. So when Fleetway Supersonic is flipping the bird in that Friday Night Funkin' mod, that is entirely inappropriate to his character. And also the fact that he's rapping.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, let's calm down. So bring it back to the Sonic move. Sonic OVA.
Adventure Sonic would definitely flip the bird.
Yeah, probably.
Oh no, see, I was going to say Adventures of Sonic does not know what that is and also does not know what is either.
I mean, I feel like maybe he does, but he's not going to admit to it, and he might do a PSA about it.
Yeah, there we go.
No, I think you're right, because Adventures of Sonic and all the Sonic Says segments, he's obviously very educated, so yes, knows what those things are, but also wouldn't hurt his brand by doing either of them. Sad AM Sonic is the dumb idiot who doesn't know what they are.
Yeah.
And Underground Sonic doesn't, but Sonia absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh.
So the tables pretty quickly turn on them. Metal Robotnik ends up kind of chasing them through the streets with his big old bat wings. Very, very intimidating. At one point, thinks that he managed to knock Sonic and Tails into the water. They, of course, are just faking it. For real starts to actually give them trouble when he starts, and there's no better way to put this, starts shooting glue out of his butt.
Yes, it is very pointedly coming out of a vent where the robot's butt would be.
Yes.
There are limited places for all this weaponry to come out of, so I suppose.
Also, it is funny.
Place.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
I just should have come with a fart effect a little.
If I may make a phrase out of it, he is machine gunning Gludo.
Oh my goodness.
Dadgum. That's
No, it's literally bad gum. It's very sticky.
yes. Oh boy. Okay, well. Calm down, gentlemen.
No.
This has turned into a very rowdy episode, actually.
This whole sequence is another really pretty as they're running on the highway before they get dropped off.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful.
I want to ask a question about the running on the highway bit. So when they're going through the tunnel, then open air through the tunnel again, do you think we're looking from Sonic and Tails' point of view? Or do you think we're looking from Metal Robotnik's point of view? Because part of me wants to believe that we're looking from Metal Robotnik's, because in the way far off in the distance, it could just be like the lines of the street coming up, but it really kind of looks like Sonic running on the left and Tails kind of flying on the right.
Yeah, I always assumed it was supposed to be like from Sonic and Tails, but it's a great effect regardless, where like the sound kind of drops out and you can just kind of hear the pa-choo, pa-choo, or the little machine gun blast. I also want to compliment the dub again, where because of the nature of dubbing, they're dubbing to the picture, and so there's a lot more like vocal flourishes in the English dub, like where characters obviously like have like open mouth reactions. Like Tails' little giggle as Sonic kicks in the speed and pulls him forward. There's a lot of really nice touches in the dub that are unfortunately absent in the Japanese version, which it just happens sometimes. They recorded the voices before the animation, or just could have been concurrent. It all depends.
Yep, and poor Sonic gets the worst of it because he is glue bombed to the ground while the piece of like rubble he's on is slowly sinking into the water. So at this point, he is struggling just to breathe. Yeah,
they don't play it up, but this would be a Sonic's worst nightmare due to his not liking water.
This is a really dire scene, like, to be honest. Like, the rain is coming down and Metal Robotnik is advancing slowly towards them. It's quite intimidating.
The Metal Robotnik advancing is really, really good, just because, like, he had just gotten hit by one of his own missiles, so you get the exposed face thing going on with him, which really makes him look even more intimidating.
And, like, the slow fade up of, like, the walking sound through the rain is...
the whole thing is very Terminator.
I think this movie overall, like, does, from scene to scene, it really just nails its mood per scene.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yep. It has a very good pacing, and like you're not waiting around for the next interesting thing to happen, while also feeling like there's still stakes to everything. Yeah, like a lot of. There is such a thing as like the OVA boom of like the 80s and 90s in Japan, where there was lots of funding for just do a really well animated short film, and that's why you get a ton that like kind of have nothing to them except nice animation. But this is definitely not one of these. Like, I think the story works, I think the characters work, the animation is great. It's a fun movie to watch, whether you watch it split up like it was in Japan, or like in one continuous thing like this. I think it works regardless. But this is also where our third protagonist jumps in.
Hey, do you hear that? Knock knock, it's Knuckles.
For the first time in any Sonic animation, like, this would predate his Underground appearance by a couple of years.
Oh, really?
Thank God.
Thank God they got there first. Oh my goodness. Oh, you know what though? Here's our boy Knuckles. But guess what? He's got a new hat. I love it. It's so. I was like confused at first. I was like, wait, did they sort of like smash Knuckles and Knack together? But no, he's got a cool little. What do we call that kind of hat? It's definitely light brown. It's not quite a cowboy.
It's not really a cowboy hat. It's not really like an Indiana Jones fedora. I mean, I don't know what to call it except a Crocodile Dundee hat.
Yeah. I'm going to call it a treasure hunter hat.
It's even got the fun little band around it that kind of is reminiscent of like a, Casino Night, just Sonic Casino design.
Yeah.
I like it.
Little bumpers on it. It's very good. There's a lot to say about the character, but we need to establish the fact that he's got a really cool hat.
Yes. The hat is very important. The hat has become like kind of a part of Knuckles' legacy a little bit. Like, they did bring the hat back for his appearance, for like an alternate costume in Sonic Dash and Forces Battle. And I remember in an interview, Ian Jones-Cordy, the creator of OKKO, said that if Knuckles had been in that Sonic crossover episode, they would have given him the hat for at least part of it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It even randomly shows up in the Archie comics for literally no reason.
Yeah.
I think I remember that, yeah.
Other than, I think what the artist had just seen the OVA and was like, that hat's cool.
It kind of became part of, like, 25 years later, Knuckles' like official design.
I think you're right, yeah.
but I don't want to associate it with that, even though it technically appeared in that more than it did anywhere else.
It's a very cool detail to this version of Knuckles, who there's not really a floating island for him, so he's a journeyman. He's a treasure hunter. He's got the hat. He's got the the drawstring bag that has all his worldly possessions in it. It's a nice little touch.
I like wandering vagabond Knuckles. That's kind of cool.
Yes. He swoops in to help save the day.
He really does swoop in. Now, here's the fun thing to notice about Knuckles. Now, we all know Knuckles the Echidna can glide.
Yeah.
That's a cool thing that he does. I don't know if it's assumed he uses his dreadlocks to do that, or his spikes or spines, whatever you want to call them. But he's always been able to glide by putting his fists out. What Knuckles does here is he just walks in the air. He's just flying.
Yeah, he just kind of floats.
Yeah.
He's got a DBZ flight.
He runs in the air later like he's magic.
I don't know if they maybe slightly misunderstood Knuckles' abilities, but
I love
it's interesting.
I wonder if it was just another rule of cool, like they said, well, what's going to look better if he's fanning air through his dreadlocks to glide, or if he can just fly. It does look very cool, the things he does, as he's fighting Metal Robotnik, and when he helps Sonic and Tails do the old alley-oop maneuver, the fastball special.
Just a team blast.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Again, prefacing everything else in this.
Yeah.
And he just completely splits Metal Robotnik right down the middle.
Yeah.
And then they do a cool little celebration afterwards.
Yep.
My man, cool.
Yeah, that's another. I think that's completely silent in Japanese, but they added the little flourish, and it's fine. It's silly. It's big Sad AM Sonic vibes.
So, oh my gosh. So Chris, I am so glad that you actually said the words out loud, because that just sparked a memory in my head. I first got to watch this movie with my friend who, years ago when we were kids, introduced me to Sonic. I think he had this on VHS, and so we watched it together. And one of our things, whenever we would hang out, we would do fist bumps, my man, and then try to elbow cool. And that was our thing.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Oh,
yes, I love that.
And you thought it was unironically cool because Sonic told you it was.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Yes. But oh man, that brings back really good memories.
That's awesome. I'm pretty sure as a kid I definitely probably tried to do one of the secret handshakes from Sad AM with the do it to it. Let's juice. So this is about where in the original Japanese release it gets split in half, because we see the sun is going down on the city and we get a gorgeous shot of Robotropolis, Eggman Land lighting up.
Knuckles putting on some sunglasses to shade the glare, and looking even cooler somehow.
I love the rapport that Sonic and Knuckles have here. Where he's like, "Thanks for helping out, buddy," and he's like, "Yeah, it's another job I'm not gonna get paid for, but I'll put it on your tab since we're just such good friends." They're busting each other's chops. That's my favorite Sonic and Knuckles.
That's the Sonic Knuckles sort of dynamic that I always enjoyed.
Yeah.
Sonic's friendly nemesis, Knuckles. They think they're gonna say goodbye to Knuckles. Somehow, I think he psychically reads their minds, so he knows what's going on, even though he just showed up. Because he hops in front of them and says, "Hey, we better get going. That generator's gonna explode."
It's never really explained how he just happened to be there either. But it's we're just glad he's here. Just roll with it.
He's a man of the world. He has his ear to the ground. He knows
Knuckles
things.
just hears everything. He's like Dolores in Encanto. He hears everything.
But yeah, we get a very look-alike comes in on the soundtrack, although in the English version it fades right away. But in the original release, we did get a whole first set of credits that are like the ones we get later, where it has a little window showing little scenes, and then we get the credits, and then we got a couple of verses of look-alike. But yeah, then we fade back up into part 2, where our boys are ready to dive into the heart of Robotropolis.
I really thought for a second you're saying our boys are ready to die. I was like, oh, I didn't remember that part.
Welcome to die.
honestly, this whole infiltration sequence gives me big, like, Metallic Madness from CD vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some little... are those snails from Sonic CD?
They're from Sonic 3.
Okay, yeah, Sonic 3.
Are they snail blasters?
Yes.
Is that the name?
Yes, it is.
God, I do remember that.
I also remember because I just looked it up, just to make sure.
Oh, okay. I was just looking, that was the name that popped right into my head, and I was like, yeah, man, maybe I spent a bit too much time with those instruction manuals as a kid. Plus, the STC was always bringing out, like, Badnik pinups every week, so you had to remember them.
I do like the contrast here where Sonic is getting a little overwhelmed with how big Eggman's base is, and Knuckles is like, yeah, well, don't get unfocused. And then like 10 seconds later, he's like, I'm so excited to be doing this, and almost gets blasted by one of these snail guys.
While actually gliding, by the way, by doing his actual glide.
Yes.
He's just like,
But yeah, we get a great little section of here of some real tense moments of this countdown going, and are they going to make it? Are they going to make it? And of course they do. But then it's revealed that, man, was this whole thing a trap? Yes,
Sure
I
was.
think I don't think this thing was ever going to blow up.
Yeah.
no. I mean, it does like a little victory fanfare when he gets it, like almost mockingly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, a brilliant little ta-da!
I like that the generator. I mean, like, you know, Robotnik is a man who likes to put his brand on everything, and I love that the generator has this huge mustache and like big, like the eyes are great, but like the mustache is what gets me. I love that he like just puts that on a generator.
He loves putting his face on things, but this is like the most face of his face that we've seen on anything.
Yes. It does almost remind me of, and again, because I've just started reading them recently, but the Egg Citadel from STC, which is just a big Robotnik head.
Yeah.
I love it. It's great.
I just love the animation of the robot generator as well. Just kind of constantly just kind of crunching as it's, you know, slowly overloading, and then when it falls apart again, it's just...
Yeah, it's an object that is made of like metal pieces, and so they animate it like that, but still it's like the energy is just pushing its parts.
Barely held together. The seconds are counting down. Will they make it? Won't they? Who knows? And then all of a sudden Knuckles comes in, helps give that final blow to the switch, get a little ta-da, congratulations, and then some green computer blocks. I guess that's what you call them.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, that's what they are.
Yeah.
it's like solid holograms almost.
They come out. They come out. They grab Sonic and they scan and copy his life data and his memories, and that one time his pants fell down in kindergarten, and
Oh wow, that's embarrassing. He wore pants at one point.
that's why he doesn't wear them.
Well, yeah, we've seen his favorite outfit.
Oh, that's we'll get to that.
I really like the shot of Tails here because I always interpreted he's got, you know, Sonic's in trouble, but he's got this determined little look on his face, and I just always imagined that he is, you know, he's going to help Sonic, but also he is studying everything. He's trying to figure out what's going on here, you know, with his little technical brain, and I think that comes back when he explains later, like their plan to stop Robotnik.
He's trying to come up with a plan.
Oh, I really like that interpretation. If I were watching this when I was a kid, I was like, oh, I bet he's thinking, oh, I wish Sonic were here.
What would Sonic do to get Sonic out of here? But so after the scan, the generator falls apart, and of course at this point we know it's all been a ruse, and Sonic seems to be falling down an endless pit until Knuckles catches him. Parts of the landscape fall apart, and then we see an orb in the middle of the room just across the chasm from them. And
I know, I love this. This really just seems like a throw some money at the animation budget for no reason.
Yes.
It's absolutely unnecessary, but it's so pretty.
Cool.
It's like
it is
gorgeous.
so cool. You know what? I imagine this is what happens every time Metal Sonic like awakens from sleep mode.
I mean, there's like these little rainbow sprinkles, I guess. There's probably like a much more poetic term I could use for it, but that's what comes to mind when I see these sort of...
I guess what Eggman's trying to do is say that, like, oh no, you know, Black Eggman is coming back from the dead, and then you can see down at the bottom, it's just the little egg pawns holding up the broken mech, and then it falls apart, and here's where it's revealed for certain that, yeah, it was Robotnik and Sarah inside of Metal Robotnik the whole time.
Actually, didn't we get that a little bit in the first part as
Yeah,
well?
they showed it for a split second, but like this is the big moment when Sonic and friends
But Sonic
realize
has
that.
those.
Yeah, it's where it's revealed to our heroes.
And Knuckles is like, yo, what are you doing, woman? You attacking my Sonic, you attacking my mate.
And then Sarah starts crying because she didn't want any part of this.
There's some just great facial animation on all of the characters during this whole sequence.
To keep up with the whole like the English dub flourishes things, I love when Eggman jumps out of the like deconstructed metal Robotnik. I think I just said Eggman and Metal Robotnik, whatever.
I just did the same time. I said Black Eggman and Metal Robotnik in the same sentence.
It doesn't matter. But when Robotnik jumps out of Metal Robotnik and like kind of swings down, he laughs. He does that little, and then he starts talking.
Yeah, he's talking.
He's hamming it up.
While he's telling Sonic that now he's going to die. But yeah, you were saying this is where we finally get to see Hyper Metal Sonic reveal.
And so after Hyper Metal Sonic, which we'll just call Metal Sonic because that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
When he finally reveals himself from the orb and the smoke clears, we get a really good establishing shot with some like really good like deep coloring, shadows, lights on Metal Sonic, and you know it's
a great stinger in the music too. It's scary.
And you know what's interesting? Like we mentioned earlier that Studio Pierrot animated this whole OVA, looking like kind of comparing this to some of the more like Sakuga parts of Naruto, where they use like some of the like in those Sakuga moments where they do very minimal shading and highlighting, and they mostly stick to flat colors so that they can make it easier to like draw just amazing action scenes. You could almost say that like some of the styles were like cemented here and probably, you know, some productions before this, and kept going and going and going throughout the years and just refining over time. And it's cool to be able to like compare and contrast throughout the years.
Yeah.
Yeah, to compare their work and how you can see some of that influence and style like keep going into other projects. Yeah, it's very nice.
I love that little like when Sonic finally gets riled up enough to try to charge at Eggman, he does that kind of like radio static thing throughout his body as he like.
Oh yeah. It's like a cat. It's like when a cat gets its hackles up.
Yes, that might be my favorite part. Period, because it looks so cool. And Sonic's just I know in both versions, you know, he gets real mad. In the Japanese version, it's almost like he goes, "Oh, oi, oi!"
Yeah.
You know, that kind of punk Japanese punk flourish.
Oh my!
Yeah, he's getting real pissed off.
I don't know if it was before this, but Tails says it's a robot that looks exactly like Sonic, and I think that is a interesting interpretation there, Tails.
Yes, I mean the Sonic series is kind of famous for that now.
Yeah, a little bit.
Whether it's mistaking Shadow or
even Silver.
To be fair, I suppose they do make their front views look quite similar in this art style.
Yeah.
Like Sonic spikes like pointing up, kind of like they do in the Sonic 3D animations.
It's more believable later when like the president's surveillance cameras are barely catching glimpses of Metal Sonic streaking around.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, I could see that mistaking for Sonic, but come on, Tails, you're like 18 inches in front of him. It's not identical. It is very, very Tails. I do like his he's super freaked out at this. Like the very thought of copying Sonic in robot form just broke his little brain for a second.
This is where it finds out that Tails has had like vision issues this whole time. I'm seeing double 4 Sonics.
Oh man, but they do launch into the first of several very cool fights where I guess I never really stopped to look until this time revisiting it, that this fight takes place almost entirely in the air, where Sonic is just finding little bits of either the environment or like using his speed to like stay up in midair to fight Hyper Metal Sonic here, who is using like his jet engine to propel himself up, and it's super cool. I love the contrasting where you can see Metal like zipping straight up with a jet stream behind him, and Sonic is like spinning around to keep up pace and lead him into like the empty parts of the city.
I think this movie is a big factor in why I and a lot of other people really like Metal Sonic as an antagonist. Like,
yes.
I like Shadow as a character because he has an interesting arc, villain to anti-hero to arguably straight up hero. There's a lot of depth to explore there. But in my mind, Metal is always going to be the preeminent doppelganger rival because he's got all Sonic skills, all Sonic speed, zero morality, and his, single goal always has been and always will be, he wants to prove himself to be the superior Sonic. And generally speaking, whenever he shows up, he feels like a genuine threat. And I think this OVA was one of the first examples where they really brought that into focus.
We've made some allusions to the Terminator, but I remember being a kid, probably watching like Terminator 2 on TV, which still left some of the scary parts in, and always thinking like, Metal Sonic's hand that has all his sharp little fingers, and just thinking like the nightmare scenario would be to just punch straight through one of our heroes, which would never happen. But as a kid, I thought in the back of my head like, oh no, he's so sharp and scary. What if that happened?
I mean, Metallics might have done that in STC.
Yes.
Perhaps there is some validity to this Sonic Terminator theory of yours.
Yeah, I was just thinking that when you mentioned it.
Yeah, Sonic gets completely destroyed in this fight, more or less. Yeah. Metal believes that, he can't detect the life signs anymore. It literally just shows like little Sonic Sketchhog image of, Sonic with a halo.
Yeah. Poor Knuckles and Tails can't keep up. So Tails is another really cute shot with Tails has tears in his eyes, but is dragging Knuckles along and saying, we're going to go pick up the tornado and go home, because he's got a plan, but he's obviously very upset. Poor guy.
Yeah. Of course, Robotnik is completely overjoyed, and we get a weird shot of Old Man Owl still hanging out on the beach at night.
Yes.
And then...
What a perfect night to sit on the beach. Oh, Master Sonic, I didn't expect to see
Gotta get my moon tan on.
My moon tan.
Well, come on, guys, he's an owl.
It's good, valid. You know what? That's valid.
There we go.
Yeah. He doesn't touch on it, but that's probably why he didn't realize his aircraft was on fire earlier, is because he's supposed to be asleep.
Yeah.
That's valid.
Also, he is an older man, so his skin may be sensitive. So, a moon tan might be a little bit easier to deal with. Less harmful UV radiation.
Now, here's a character who actually we do see has vision problems, who mistakes Metal for the real Sonic.
I'm willing to forgive that one, especially considering he probably gets murdered this sequence, maybe.
Yeah, they sure do imply that, and we don't find out that he's not until 2 or 3 scenes later.
Can you imagine? That's what happened. That's the turn it took.
I mean, what a brave movie to kill the main character.
But yeah, we do see that Sonic wakes up in this beautiful, serene forest. He just got the piss knocked out of him. He's not dead.
So Robotnik's wreaking havoc. The president needs to be caught up because he still thinks it's Metal Robotnik doing this. And Tails and Knuckles go back to their big wreck. There's a moment that Knuckles looks at all of the wreckage and is like, this is horrible. Only Robotnik could do something like this. And I just want to have Tails look at him like, Knuckles, this is my house.
Yeah, I could never tell if that was supposed to be a joke or not, because they show up and Knuckles is like, oh, this is terrible. And I think you can see a smoke plume.
Yeah.
But then other than that, it looks exactly like the opening scene. So I wonder if that is supposed to play as a joke.
Yeah. But Tails even nods yeah, totally.
I've been trying to get Sonic to clean up for years.
Just might not have translated visually all the way.
He left the oven on before he left. Now there's smoke everywhere.
Yeah. Old man.
Speaking of which, Old Man Owl is totally alive because apparently all Metal did was put him in Sonic's favorite outfit, which is... I know it's the 90s, but Sonic had some questionable fashion choices.
Hey, man, streetwear is definitely back in fashion now. I would wear this whole outfit in a heartbeat.
Can we explain the Sonic's favorite clothes?
I don't know how to explain it. It is loud and 90s as hell.
All right, so here we go.
Okay, if I had to explain it in just a sentence, it would be how the interiors of American Taco Bells used to look, with the pink and purple, and there's some aquamarine and just random squiggles that kind of look like logos.
You know what? I'm gonna take your word for it.
Yeah.
And he's got headphones on and a skateboard.
He's definitely dressed like the floor of a Chuck E. Cheese.
This is to again pay compliments to the dub. I think one of the best lines in the movies where Old Man Owl says that
he forced me to put on these clothes and then flew away without saying anything.
It's one of the funniest deliveries. It's like, he forced me to put them on and then flew away.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to describe that laugh other than like it vomits out of him. It's so good.
So Old Man Owl is one of the few Sonic characters that I can like impersonate. And I think the first time I got to do his voice was for one of the Wax's shorts in one of the Sonic volumes. And I remember specifically like taking a lot of time to like try to practice that laugh as much as I could.
That's the best thing to go from.
Something I forgot to mention earlier is that when Metal is, throwing Sonic away, we get a shot where the planet Saturn is like right behind them. And I think I finally realized what happened to Earth, that caused New York to be abandoned.
Oh.
The tide must have gotten real messed up from being pulled into another planet's orbit.
This is actually a tie-in to Wall-E.
Once again, Saturn is a disaster.
Yeah. Saturn killed Sega and Sonic the Hedgehog. It happens all over again.
Oh boy. That is definitely another just rule of cool.
Yeah.
Which I think is also an explanation why, I'm just going to bring up STC whenever I can, why Mobius has two moons occasionally. It's just because, hey, it looks cool. Why not?
Oh, absolutely.
So since Saturn's in the background, one could make a case that this is taking place on like Saturn's moons of either like Io or Titan.
This is the scene where Tails and Knuckles realize that Metal Sonic is operating under Robotnik's control and is wreaking havoc across the land of the sky. But they start to put two and two together that because he flew back home and gave, the old man his favorite clothes, is that he is operating on some wavelength on Sonic's thought patterns. And I think this is where we get Tails is tinkering with the navigator that Robotnik gave him, because it logically it would use some same parts that are in Metal Sonic, and this is where Tails gives the explanation that Sonic's whole life data, his whole brain scan, was copied into Hyper Metal Sonic, and so he knows. He says Metal should know all of Sonic's thoughts, every feeling he's ever had, his memories, his likes and dislikes. And this is where they start hatching the plan. I know we mentioned it up top. It's kind of gets lost here. Even in the original subtitled version, he doesn't straight up say it, which I think kind of hurts the ending sequence. And in the dub, they kind of gloss over it. But I think what Tails is trying to do is he's saying that if they can fully synchronize Metal and Sonic and override Robotnik's programming, is that Tails is hoping that Sonic's, heroic personality will be able to come through Metal, since everything else is already there.
Yeah.
Which we know, spoilers, that's what happens in the end.
And we know Sonic has a heroic personality, even if he's a dick half the time. In this
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's my favorite part of Sonic. When the chips are down, he does the right thing. He does what he fights for what he thinks is right.
Which is how SDC Sonic is as well, by the way, everyone. Just putting that out there. Don't cherry pick panels from the comic. Anyway.
Hey, he's only a bit of a... Sorry. But hey, I was talking about a British thing, so it's all right. It's like saying hello over there, right?
I mean, people use it all the time.
Yeah.
It's standard.
There's a great moment where the president calls Sonic's place to find out what's going on, and Knuckles is like, I don't know who you are, but you're bothering me. We're busy. Go away.
I love that.
Yeah, Knuckles.
Who are you? I'm Knuckles, and I'm Sonic's best friend. Oh, are you? Okay.
Yeah, so screw you.
Yeah, we go back to Knuckles not knowing who the president is.
Knuckles is off the grid. He doesn't really care about politics.
Yeah, obviously not.
And,
it is very funny.
They catch the president up on what's going on, and they've kind of deduced that basically what Metal Sonic's Robotnik's plan is basically all of the land of the sky is being held up by giant glaciers that are attached at the bottom to the land of darkness, just as like big pillars supporting them. But there's magma flowing through those glaciers. Don't ask me how they don't, melt, because I don't.
No, it's fine.
But basically the plan is that Metal Sonic destroys the glaciers, the lava overflows, and everything holding the land of sky in place to the rest of the planet disappears, and the little floating islands all just disperse and get sent off into space, where they will inevitably, all life on the planet will cease to exist.
And then Dark Gaia, and then Chip, and then
yeah.
Hey, there's another parallel.
A little bit.
So one thing that's happening during all this that we haven't mentioned yet is looking back on it, kind of a troubling thing that yes, well, not kind of, it's quite troubling that Robotnik is thinking about the future of humanity after the land of the sky basically blows up and floats off into space. So Sarah's pouting and not very happy at all that she's been kidnapped still, but then he pulls out a very nice dress and she's happy, and then she's like, "Why'd you get me this?" Well,
why'd you get me this wedding dress?
Well,
specifically,
we're going to be the last two people on the planet. Got to repopulate, so let's get married. And here's this horrifying fantasy of us with 15 children.
Yeah, they're horrible little egg babies.
The fact that there are 15 of them, all roughly the same age, is just, I don't even want to think about it. I really, really don't.
Oh, gosh.
She's the president's daughter. She's basically like the kidnapped princess. And this whole scenario is very droll of the time of kidnap the princess so she'll have to marry me.
I suppose on the flip side, at least there's a little bit of consent in her, because at one point she says, "If you don't let me play again, I'll stop being your hostage." So,
yes.
Yeah.
And she's the one who wanted to go on a drive, which is the reason they piloted Metal Robotnik to begin with.
Yes.
Yeah.
They do at least, I mean, like you said, it is a little awkward, but they at least do play it for comedy, that she is also like the kind of anime girl that scratches his eyes out and beats up the bad guys. But yeah, it's played as a silly gag.
I mean, it is. I'm not as serious about this as I sound. I just want to make fun of it. I just want to draw attention to it because that's funny.
It is.
It is super weird.
Yeah, basically Sonic was there to hear the whole conversation with the president, and he's like, "I'm going to the North Pole because I know Metal will be at the North Pole, because now our brains are basically in sync." And everybody slowly follows behind. As Metal is starting to wreck the glaciers, Sonic finally catches up, and we get the big fight scene that we've all been looking forward to.
This is the final confrontation with, we've already mentioned it, but also the other line that everybody remembers.
Yep. This whole fight sequence is just great. Like, they're doing the DBZ Trails thing where they're warping around, explosions every time they collide. And we get the moment.
I just wonder if we'd even remember it nearly as much as we do if it wasn't for the slightly weird delivery.
No, not
I think
at all.
It's just something about it.
It's because they add these strange isn't it to match the lip flaps instead of writing it differently.
It is like that transatlantic accent that he's got going on as well.
The weird thing is the strange isn't even, that's not a lip flap line. That's, they're looking at Metal at the time, so his mouth isn't moving.
Right. I think I know. I can't remember. I think in the subtitles he just says. You could basically translate it as, "Hey, isn't it funny?"
It's a strange feeling.
What a strange feeling.
But they tack it on the end there. Anyway, it's so infamous. It's hard to. I can't even say if it's good or bad.
I think there is a video somewhere of Ben Schwartz reading that whole quote. I'll have to track that down.
You might know everything I'm gonna do, but that's not gonna help you, since I know everything you're gonna do. Strange, isn't it?
He had no context for it, so it's not. And nothing will ever beat the original version.
Of course, that immediately leads into one of the other scenes everybody remembers for completely different reasons.
So everybody starts showing up at the North Pole. You've got Tails and Knuckles flying in on the tornado. Eggman and Sarah show up in the. I guess this is an Eggmobile, an Eggomatic.
Yeah.
I quite like the design for it, the blue one. It's a cool one. It's a very bespoke one.
Yeah. And we get, Metal Sonic crashing through the bottom of it.
Yeah. So this is
This scene.
So the whole joke is that Metal Sonic is crashed right in front of Sarah. She's wearing a very short skirt, and so the implication is that he can see her pantsuit, and Sonic is also freaking out because they are so in sync that he is also seeing what Metal sees. So
I do wonder if it's that he's seeing it or he's reacting to her like kicking the hell out of Metal Sonic.
I guess it could be
he's
both.
Feeling that.
The expressions say to me that it's not reacting to the kick.
I tell you one thing, if this was Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog Sonic, he would absolutely be reacting to what he saw.
Yeah.
Because as we know, the horniest Sonic.
I mean, also another Sonic that keeps trying to hang out on the beach but gets interrupted by crises.
How true.
I just want to say, I do love of course, the deadpan Metal Sonic getting kicked in the face, who it's a very good piece of animation.
I also I just thought of this, but I like the fact that his eyes keep shutting off every time he gets kicked. So I like the idea that each kick to the head reboots him over and over again.
It's interfering with his LEDs. But yeah, this is where Sarah falls out and gets rescued by Knuckles and Tails.
And then Tails cops a feel.
What, the rapid fire off-color jokes here?
Yes.
What's going on?
Well, and I hate to say it's another anime thing, but I mean, it kind of is the oops, I fell and, fell on top of a lady. And I mean, again, it's played for comedy. Sarah doesn't seem to take it personally.
I'm so sorry.
Yes, I was about to say another very cute dub delivery.
I never thought you'd stoop that low.
Come on, Knuckles.
Come on, Knuckles.
So anyway, but the fight is getting super intense meanwhile.
And this is where they set up a joke that is going to pay off much, much later. With Robotnik firing the tortoise and hare missiles.
Yep.
Yes. I love that.
That is such a Japanese
designs.
Eggman thing, to make something so blatantly flawed.
Another design failure.
One thing I wanted to mention, going along with the tortoise and hare thing, I noticed, especially, knowing the fact that this was 2 episodes instead of a full movie, I noticed that, in the second episode, the second half of the movie, there's more instances of what looks to be I would say early experiments of some digital computer animation when Knuckles is explaining what the plan is as far as what Robotnik and Metal Sonic are going to do to break up the world, and we get that kind of more digital looking flat colored,
the effect on the magma,
and also the scene where Tails just rams into them with the tornado, and it's kind of it basically kind of looks like they just have the one picture of the tornado keyframed, and they just kind of make it go further and smaller. And
to give it that sense of speed.
Yeah,
because it's kind of a full pan to mimic what a real camera shot might be. I couldn't tell you if that was digital. I just don't know. I know it shows up later. There are some explosions where it is a very bombastic effect that might have been inserted. Yeah, I know what you're saying though. I like it. I think it blends really well regardless. And it probably, again, it just let them do things that they might not have been able to if this was stretched out into a series.
Yeah, it probably also helped them save a lot of animation time too.
But it doesn't stick out like a lot of digital painted early stuff. I'm pretty sure this was mostly hand painted.
Yeah, I believe so.
It just has that look to it.
So we get a point where Metal and Sonic are still fighting, and Sarah seduces Knuckles into dealing with the magma crisis that's currently going on at the cost of his hat. Pour one out.
Can I just point out that at one point, and this is not just a dub thing, Sarah is yelling out, "Go, Mr. Mole!"
Yes,
and that's in the Japanese too, Moguro-san. So I guess she just sees him as a mole.
Yeah, I think that was just a joke. Yeah,
nobody knows what an echidna is.
Exactly, including poor Sarah.
Yeah.
Yep. So he does. He diverts the magma, but Sonic is once again, Metal's got him on the ropes, but this is where Tails jumps in and enacts his plan and is typing furiously on this tiny little keyboard.
I love the shots of Sarah just repeatedly hitting and kicking Metal, and he just doesn't even react.
Yeah.
Yes, biting him.
Yeah, I love that it starts out with her biting him, and like the English stuff just goes like, ang, ang, ang.
Yeah. But Tails reprogramming ultimately works. Metal drops Sonic and manages to get knocked away. But unfortunately, their victory is short-lived because the President and Old Man Owl have showed up in their ship, crashed into one of the glaciers, and are now trapped inside.
And Old Man Owl was the one driving.
Good job. Sonic and Tails, they try to save him. Metal basically interrupts them, but he is looking way worse for wear. Like, you can see like little chunks of his body completely ripped up. It's pretty harsh to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Sonic hits him like going full speed with that spin attack and messed him up. But here he has reappeared to seemingly save the day. He pulls our good guys out of the wreckage.
Yeah, after a little bit of extra tussling with Sonic, and stepping on Knuckles at one point. Very important. I love the shot of like Sonic kind of slowly crawling towards the exploding aircraft, like, Mr. President.
Oh yeah, they do a real good job. That Sonic is wiped. He is tired.
And surprise, surprise, it ends up being Metal who pulls them out of the wreckage because his Tails reprogramming has worked just enough. Tragedy strikes in the form of a big piece of wreckage and knocks him right into the volcano. Metal is, like, he doesn't even have legs anymore. He can barely move. He's slowly clawing his way out. And Sonic's like, oh no, this thing is basically me now. It has emotions and a heroic streak. I need to rescue it. And Knuckles is holding him back.
I always took this as another really good Sonic character moment, because I don't even know if Sonic has like thought about it that hard, since I don't think he got I guess he did hear the full explanation from Tails, but I just thought Sonic was like, oh, he's a good guy now, I gotta at least give him a chance.
Oh, he thinks like me now. That makes him a good person.
Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, kind of. I think Sonic is kind of, at the end of the day, he's kind of simple like that.
I mean, Sonic has his own sense of what's right, and, that's that.
Long as the voice inside drives him to run and fight.
It doesn't matter.
I always took it as he didn't even think about it that hard. He knows that Metal has done this good thing, and so he's going to give him a chance.
Yeah.
But like you said, Knuckles is being the voice of reason. He's saying, oh, it could be a trap. He's going to drag you into the lava with him. And, for one brief moment, you think he's going to Sonic's going to take Metal's hand and pull him out, and he slaps it away, and we get another fairly iconic line here.
Yeah. There is only one Sonic.
Which, Metal doesn't really have a mouth, so I always kind of assumed that this was him using like their psychic link to communicate this thought.
I can see that.
That Sonic's the only one that heard this.
Oh, that's good. I do like to think it was interesting that George Lucas would watch this and apply this to his planning.
I hate you.
Yeah, really took it in the opposite emotional tone there.
You cannot win, Metal Sonic. I have the high ground.
Metal, you were the chosen one.
We were brothers.
You were supposed to bring balance to the force, not
to the magma.
Anyway, time to end. We get I like how we get a very, again, a very classic anime shout to the heavens, Metal. in both versions, and then that gets to fade out until a nice establishing shot, and we just get like everybody's just friends now.
Yeah, Old Man Al still can't
closing out to the
Old
movie.
Man Al still can't look in the right direction.
Yep, he's looking off to the side while everybody else looks at Robotnik.
And of course, Robotnik's like, "Oh, I can just build a new Metal Sonic. I've still got all of Sonic's life data on this disc,
on this GameCube,
on
disc.
this one CD,
on this one CD that I have no backups of because I really should have,
because it's 1996.
Exactly. And
I burned it just to be on the safe side. I deleted the copies on my computer. You never know who's listening.
I'm keeping it all in one place with no backups. But next, I'm going to do the same thing to the Kingdom Hearts 1 source code.
Oh my God.
And Silent Hill 2 and 3.
He really is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wipe away the data on this disc of Eternal Darkness on the GameCube.
And this is where we finally get the brick joke of the tortoise missile crashing into the disc and destroying it, ensuring no more medals.
No more Metal Sonic. And then we get the very important setup earlier where Sonic stepped on Knuckles' head, because now he just whacks Sonic right on the head and takes off running, saying, now we're even.
Yep. And everybody runs off into the sunset. Ha ha ha, roll credits.
Yep, another title drop.
Eggman almost destroyed the world. Haha, let's hang out with him.
Yep.
Let's bum a ride with him.
I mean,
the version of Lookalike that the only version that we had for years and years, which is a very catchy song. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's good.
I was still a little surprised that managed to make it onto that Sonic compilation CD from 2007, 2008 with all the theme songs. I was like, nah, there's no way. I would have thought that the rights issues would be weird with that, but I guess that Sega owned enough of a stake in the movie that they can just do that, I guess.
You know what? If the Sonic X English theme can end up on
God in heaven.
All I can say is, on a Sunday, riding my bike, I notice different things that look alike. Ice and water, steak and cow, autumn this year, and last year, spark and burn, rain and cloud, A, B, C, D.
It seems like she's more describing, I forget what they're called, but Conan used to do the cow is to steak as ice is to water. Yeah. That's what the whole song is.
It's important to remember, a long time ago, one caveman had a busy life making tons of names.
Oh my God, you're right. That's actually.
Oh Lord.
On this planet, drinking my coffee.
Different things that are alike.
But that's the Sonic OVA. I still really like it a lot. I've definitely got a lot of nostalgia, just because it came out of nowhere. I might have seen an ad for it in a magazine, a game magazine or something.
Same.
But I remember I probably picked up this VHS at the same Babbage as I got my Dreamcast, just because of course they would have, the Sonic, the movie VHS. But I still think it holds up really well.
I love this.
It's the perfect length. It's not even an hour. I think it's 54 minutes.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
If with both parts put together. But it is just fun to put on, and it's got great animation, great flow, like we said, and it's just a fun it's its own little thing.
Yeah.
They didn't turn it into a series. They didn't try and make it just like the games. It is a perfectly contained little Sonic continuity.
Yeah.
I almost kind of wish we did see a little bit more of it, but in a way, it's kind of better that it's its own bespoke thing on its own in this little world.
I definitely think that, there are elements of it in its production, and especially in the English dub, that are very much kind of a product of their time. But at the same time, it's just so charming. And it's I still get at least a little bit some of the warm and fuzzies I did back when I first found it at Blockbuster when I was, 9 years old or whatever.
I didn't get to see it for years, but I did see it in a magazine at one point when I was 12 or 13. I remember seeing Sonic the Hedgehog the movie, and my tiny little voice piped up, "Oh, finally!" Because I was really hoping for a Sonic movie. I didn't get to see it for the longest time. I think I played Sonic Adventure before I actually saw this. So
I love this movie. I genuinely love this movie. It always makes me happy, and I always have a good time watching it. And it was so cool doing this episode all together, talking about it, like getting to get more into like some of the production details and like the voice cast and like where are they now, and getting to like really pick apart some things. And it's just, I love this. It's like honestly, like if I were to like put a list of importance on like different things in Sonic media, this is like up there for me. This is in my like top 5 just anything Sonic. I love this, genuinely.
Yeah, it's cheesy fun, and sometimes that's enough.
Yeah.
Yes, this is on my wish list of Sonic things that I hope a company like Discotech can rescue and put out do a proper re-release. I would definitely be settled with a nice new DVD, but if they could work some of their magic and do a proper HD transfer, I just want people to be able to properly see this movie in the future. So fingers crossed. If anybody's got the ear of somebody at Discotech licensing, please whisper it. Whisper Sonic OVA. But yeah, just to follow back up on that, Jake, I'm so glad that we like that is the fantastic part of this show, is that at the end of the day it is another reason for me to hang out with my friends, and I'm glad it is we all, even though we all watch this the movie separately like several times, like we get to come together and talk about something like that genuinely has a lot of awesome nostalgia because we watched it when we were younger, and also like it's just fun to experience now because it holds up. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, you mush heads, time to get out of here.
All right, I guess this wraps us up for this week. You can find me on Twitter at CyberLink420.
You can find me on Twitter and everywhere as Faulerro. That's FAULERRO.
And I'm Jeremy. You can also find me on Twitter at Great Job Jeremy. That's GR and the number 8.
And I'm RockTheJake. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at RockTheJake.
And of course, special thanks as always go out to Amy Waters for the use of our theme song from the album Gotta Go Slow.
Woo.
You can check out more of her work on YouTube and Bandcamp.
Go do it.
But for next time, we spent a lot of time talking about Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie. Little other Sonic the Hedgehog movie might be coming out around this time. You know, you've probably already seen it by the time you're hearing this. So we are going to, like, now that Chris has already seen it, it's time for me, Jeremy, and Jake to play catch up and spend time seeing what our favorite little blue Ben Schwartz is up to. And next time we will come back with our impressions of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the movie.
Looking forward to it.
I really am. Like, I think I know exactly what that movie is going to be, and if that's what it is, that's fine by me, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
I'm so looking forward to being able to talk about it with you guys. Sit here for a week stewing over it.
I get the feeling we will inevitably talk both about what we think of the movie and also what certain things say for the future of that film franchise.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get into the first one and how it led into this one as well.
Yeah.
All right, so until next time, I'm GameBuddy.
I'm RockTheJake.
I'm Faulerro.
And I'm CyberLink, and this has been The Hill is Always Greener, where Sonic will never again be a pig in my egg!
Very good delivery.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, nice.
Egg.
Thanks everybody for listening.